It's a waiting game to determine if Jay-Z and his wife Beyoncé will be penalized for this civil court case. But certainly, likely, there will be a pause in any other accolade or award bestowed on the couple until the legal case is finished.
Let's break down the biggest points from his statement that stood out to you.
First and foremost, this was a statement that said he is denying all the accusations. It was bold, it was fiery, and he thought it was absurd and idiotic. He wanted to frame it as something that had no merit whatsoever.
The next part of this is he actually took aim at the other attorney and very specific jabs.
This isn't just a legal battle for Jay-Z. It's also a battle of wits and ego. In the statement, Jay-Z made a point to direct a lot of the accusation and lobs at the attorney, Tony Buzbee. He is the attorney known for filing over 120 lawsuits against accusers against Sean Diddy Combs. What Jay-Z wanted to do was poke at him, get under his skin. He made fun of Busbee's former active duty service, poking at him as a former Marine, stating that Marines wouldn't act this way. He also went so far as to call him an ambulance chaser, but also to make fun of his wardrobe. When it's a clash of two egos, it's not surprising that Jay-Z is going to throw some jabs in there to get under his skin.
And he also challenges the accuser. What stood out about that part of this statement for you?
Jay-Z doesn't come out and directly accuse Jane Doe of lying. However, he paints a picture to put her claims in doubt. He lumps her accusations in a pile with an accusation against the attorney, Tony Buzbee. He doesn't want just this one accusation to be false. He wants all of them to be false because he thinks this is somewhat of a witch hunt and that Tony Buzbee is taking advantage of him, coming after his brand, his ego, and also his money.
Then he goes into kind of humanizing himself. And now this is where he brings up his family. So he kind of opens the door on that. So talk to me about that.
In a fiery statement, specifically with these types of allegations, it's not surprising that Jay-Z would choose to humanize himself. And the quickest way to do that for Jay-Z is to bring in his family, namely his wife, Beyoncé, who carries a lot of star power with her as well. But he is putting his daughter, Blue Ivy, front and center again, and also mentioning his two other kids, the twins. But also he was evoking some type of guilt. He wanted people to feel bad, specifically the attorney, for accusing him of such a heinous crime. And now Jay-Z was going to be saddled with having to explain what happened to his daughter. A lot of people on social media are fighting back at this attempt. His own wife, Beyoncé, has come out and has claimed, that Jay-Z has been unfaithful. Jay-Z has admitted it. It was a somewhat predictable choice to bring in the family, but it's one that likely fell short.
Staying on the topic of Beyoncé, how do you see that she's going to be handling this? Do you think that she might be handling this a little bit more like how we're seeing Trisha own Garth and staying silent? What do you think that you're going to see here?
What Beyoncé does from a strategic public relations point of view is really up to Beyoncé herself. Because yes, on the one hand, she is the wife of Jay-Z, and when a spouse is facing legal trouble, certainly it's going to impact the wife's brand. However, there's a lot of subtle accusations out there as well. What did Beyoncé know? When did she know it? Does she know anything at all? So Beyoncé not only has to look at the reputational risks of speaking out, but also the potential legal risks of coming out and saying something that could implicate her or her husband, Jay-Z.
So, and what's interesting is he actually brings up that they're going to have to sit down with the children. Let me ask you, how do you think that they can handle something like this? How do you handle something like that?
Jay-Z certainly tried to thread a needle in this statement. It's somewhat of a hodgepodge of strategy, but part of it was to send subtle messages to Tony Buzbee and perhaps prosecutors in New York trying the Sean Diddy Combs case. He wants to present himself certainly as a scrappy kid from Brooklyn. He also calls himself a young man, but this 56-year-old is an icon and also a billionaire. It's very very difficult for him to try and frame himself like anyone else. What he's trying to do is to get regular people to empathize with them, to think how difficult it would be to talk to your kids about such a heinous act. But for most people, they don't have these types of conversations in their home.
Now we've got things like the Grammys are going to be coming up in February. So extending, how do we look at this play in the long term for both Jay-Z and Beyonce through that? Because obviously that Beyonce is very big for Grammys too.
Yeah, when there's a celebrity crisis, I mean, certainly what people do is they look at the next public event. Will they show up or will they not show up? I'm sure that's one of the last things on the minds of Jay-Z and Beyonce at the moment. However, it is important because everyone is going to be watching. If they don't show up, it could look like a sign of weakness or a sign that they are not as sure-footed in their claims that Jay-Z is innocent. However, based on his statement, it is likely that Jay-Z is going to be very bold over the next few months. No one really knows if Jay-Z and Beyonce will show up at the Grammys. Certainly, if the statement is any indication, Jay-Z is taking a very bold approach to his persona right now. So it's likely that they probably will appear. They may not make any statements. They won't talk to any reporters, but they want to show likely a united front and also a very strong one. He is denying all of these claims. So he's denying it now, and he'll likely deny it in February at the Grammys.
Bold question. Is all of this going to work? The statement that he's made, how is all this going to play out? Is he done, at least in court of public opinion right now?
Public opinion is fluid. It comes and goes based on what social media is saying and based on what the press is saying. But I think for Jay-Z and for Beyonce, the most important court is a legal one. Jay-Z's name is tied to Sean Combs' name. However, the Sean Combs brand is more of the bad boy, whereas Jay-Z and Beyonce have separated themselves in their celebrity to be more of a principled and respected couple. It's a waiting game to determine if Jay-Z and his wife Beyonce will be penalized for this civil court case. But certainly, likely, there will be a pause in any other accolade or award bestowed on the couple until the legal case is finished. In a celebrity public relations crisis, what typically happens is the talent is separated from the reputation. In some cases, an artist might still go on to sell albums because they have hardcore fans who still want to support them. However, for the institutions and the organizations out there that have to worry about their own reputations, it's likely that they will not align themselves with the couple until the legal court case is finished.